Hello YouTube family, thanks for joining in for this second video of today. And again, if you like the videos, please press the like button, please subscribe and follow me on YouTube. And today's second video is about Abbott making his declarations that he's opening Texas up completely. And here are the tweets he had put out. One is from his official governor Twitter account. The other one's from his personal Twitter account. Personally, he put out that I just announced Texas is open 100%. Everything. I also ended the statewide mask mandate. And then from the governor's account, he tweeted out, with this executive order, we are ensuring that all businesses and families in Texas have the freedom to determine their own destiny, which is sort of an odd thing. These are the tweets he put out. And the first one is from his governor's account, where he's saying that Texans have the freedom to determine their own destiny. His second one is just saying that he just announced everything is 100% open. And I don't like the first tweet particularly because he's basically saying, as an elected representative of the state of Texas, as the governor of the state, I am putting all the onus and responsibility on you individually. If you screw up and get COVID, it's your fault. I don't have to do anything. I'm washing my hands of it, so to speak. That's a typical politician thing, trying to figure out a way to have no responsibility, no accountability. And with Abbott removing these restrictions, he is following in the footsteps of Ron Desantis, the governor of Florida, Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota, who just happened to have finished second and third behind Donald Trump in the 2021 CPAC 2024 presidential straw poll. There are a number of people that believe Governor Gregg Abbott, although he said he's going to run for re-election in 2022, that he is eyeing running for the Republican nomination for president in 2024. And so there's a lot of, even among the Republicans in the state, there is a large belief that his move is strictly to try and position himself with the Trumpian base to try and get support for a presidential primary run. And with the CPAC that just happened, you have Ron DeSantis, who has always been a Trump acolyte, a Trump butt kisser, and Kristi Noem of South Dakota, who were very Trumpian in their appearances at CPAC, and as a result, they finished well in the straw poll. Granted, they were way behind Donald Trump. If Donald Trump was to decide to run in the 2024 Republican primary at this point, no one would be close to him in support. Biden called the moves by Abbott Neanderthal thinking. You have Beto O'Rourke, a former representative from the state of Texas and a potential challenger in 2022 for the governor's seat against Abbott. He called the decision a death warrant for Texans. You have Greg Popovich, the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, who called the decision pretty mystifying and ignorant. County executives in Texas will still have the power to implement their own restrictions. So this is Gregg Abbott, the governor of Texas, basically kind of pulling a trick like what Trump did as president. As president, Trump tried to wash his hands of responsibility by saying the individual governors of the states need to figure out what their state needs to do. And in that way was trying to wash his hands of any accountability or responsibility for what happened with COVID. In this way, Abbott's doing sort of the same thing. If there's a county in Texas that has a large spike in coronavirus cases and deaths, Gregg Abbott's going to try and say, well, your county commissioner, your county's leaders should have done something for you. I left it up to them. It's not my responsibility, not my job. I'm only the governor of the state. And this is disturbing. It's a trend in Republican politics where Republicans are trying to figure out how to excuse themselves of having any accountability or responsibility. These arbiters of personal responsibility, it's your fault. If you have things going sideways in your life, well, then you just made bad choices. You made bad decisions. It's these people trying to say, well, I have no accountability for anything. I'm only in charge of the state. It's the individual county executives who have the ability to keep you protected in your county. And if they don't know what they're doing, then you just have bad county executives. But me as a governor, I have no responsibility, no accountability. His decision comes on the heels of the already disastrous winter in Texas where they had the Arctic blast that left millions without power, without water, that left dozens dead in Texas, people literally freezing to death in Texas because of decisions that Gregg Abbott made along with previous Republican governors to not be connected to the national power grid, to privatize the power grid, and to deregulate the private companies that ran the power grid. So Gregg Abbott is already responsible for all of the deaths that happened in that winter Arctic blast. You can accuse me of being hyperbolic, you can say I'm unfair or whatever, but no, seriously, there was a commission that looked at, in the 2011 Arctic blast where people died, where they had the same problems, there was a commission that said, if you do not update your power grid, if you do not winterize, there will be people who will die in the next time this type of Arctic weather hits. Gregg Abbott did nothing. He kept soaking up all the millions of dollars from the private power companies in Texas, left them alone. They didn't do anything, and again, people died. That's why he's responsible. It's his fault. Sorry. He is the biggest serial killer in Texas history, and now he's going to cause more people to die. That's going to happen. Removing the restrictions, the mask mandates, now everything's open 100%. Everybody can be at 100% capacity. You can feel people ass to ass in bars and nightclubs and restaurants and movie theaters. Everything can be completely open. Buses can be completely packed in the cities in Texas. There will be people who will get COVID, who will die. That's going to happen. And it's on his hands. He's the one that made this decision. And he can try and flout accountability and responsibility all he wants, but it's going to fall squarely on his shoulders. I know there are some very right-wing people in Texas who have been complaining about the restrictions and the masks and everything already. Too bad. They don't get to determine whether other people live or die. The governor, though, has responsibility. And just like so many Republicans, it seems like just pretty much all of them almost now are going this direction, following in Trump's lead, trying to say, I have no responsibility, I have no accountability, it's all somebody else's problem. That's where Gregg Abbott's at. That's where Republicans seem to be moving to. And so, yeah, maybe he will be successful in running for the Republican nomination for president, since he is following completely in Trump's footsteps. He's trying to out-Trump people like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and Ron Desantis and Kristi Noem. And so far in Texas, he's doing a good job of being Trumpian. He's not doing a good job of being governor. and he's certainly not doing a good job of protecting the people in his state. This guy needs to be voted out of office, whether Beto O'Rourke runs against him or whether he gets primaried by a Republican who's willing to do the job of governor. He needs to be voted out. So, people in Texas, get it together, man. You had people die in 2011. You had people die in 2021. You're going to have more people die in 2021 because of this removing the restrictions and the mask mandates. You had people that died last year because of the lack of COVID restrictions until it hit a tipping point in Texas. This guy is a disaster. He can't make a good decision to save his life. I wouldn't put him in charge of anything ever because his decision making is horrible. He wants to take no responsibility, no accountability, but he wants to be in charge. Get him out of office. Come on, Texas. I know everything's bigger in Texas, but you can't have it be the stupidity. This guy is absolutely worthless for your state. He's caused deaths already. He is the largest serial killer. He has the largest serial killer death toll in the state of Texas's history. You got to get him out. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.